The point of this is going to try and make a replica track from start till until it's finished. That's pretty much what I'm going to do now. So let's go ahead and first things we're just going to set up. Okay, so the basic procedure of this is I'm going to try and explain what I do really when I make the track. So first we need to set up a folder. So that didn't work. Let's switch keyboard mode. So basically I'm just going to rename everything here. I think it was 2014 I wrote the track. Copying the name so I can change all the files that contains or may contain the track name as a reference. So let's start off with this part here. So save that one, the equals empty, deleting all the billboards, don't want them, that's good for now. Tile info, so I'm going to select this one, press Ctrl R, nope, Ctrl F I mean, replace, paste the my new track name, replace all, and that replaces all in, whoops, I should make sure to close every other track that's not really the one that you work on. Press Ctrl F, replace with the correct one, and replace in all open documents. You can see here the purple ones are the ones that got changed. I don't think I need the status either. What happened to the stream here? Oh, sorry. Just deleted all the textures. Textual waste. Not needing to change. So let's cut this one into the personal folder. I think that's about it for now. Can I see how long I've streamed? Oh, 3 minutes. Good. Maps.google.se. Trying to find the track. My voice is a little low. What's up, Chris? Is my voice any better? Just turn it up a little bit. So let's see here. Switching to the Earth view so I can see if that's the track. This is not the track, I would say. So it found... Oh, what the fuck. This is Denmark, not even the correct city. It's where Stenungsund MS perhaps. Okay, so we're in the right city. Stenungsund Motor. Is my voice still low? Really? So I can't really turn it up any higher than this. Is my voice still low? My voice seems fine to me now. So let's find the right one here. Tracks. Oops. Going to go into this region here. Go to S. And that is Stenungsund. Jajamän, vet du. So this is a sort of site that collects Swedish tracks, and here you can find route information or like map information or what you want. And this looks a hell of a lot better. Let's see here. Is this really still the one? Start straight. Wait, when is this photo taken? Am I even at the right place? Oh yeah. So this is pretty much a rally track, or we have something called folk race, which is basically like cheap cars, not really tuned, but you can tune them and then just crashing into each other stuff. And this 2016. Wow. So actually an updated photo. So this is sort of a tricky section here. So I'm going to convert sort of this size into sim here. I am going to start with can you remove this one for some reason? So let's start with measuring here. So why is this in Swedish? That's not how I want it. Seems like it. What's up, Nick? You still up, or is it super late for you? Really? Still English? What? Still Swedish, I mean. Can I just even get a little bit of English going here? Oh, rip this. I'm trying to do Swedish here. Oh, I was woken up by my Twitch app, so sorry for that one. I guess. So let's do some measuring here. So I'm going to set a point. This is basically measure from here. And then I can press. So this part right here is a smaller kids track. And this is feet, which is actually fine, I think. Furufjällsbanan. Oh, there's actually a track map for this. Oh, thanks. So the track map got sent by Chris here. I actually have 4 people watching. That's about 4 more than I thought I would have. So this is 1,700 feet. This right here. Let's see how close I can get here. Oops, got deleted. Measure again. So we should go down to about 3,600 feet if this was So basically what I'm doing here is making a square so I know when I take the picture as for a reference how the track looks. So, whoops, let's not care about that one. So I'm just going to open the snipping tool. Basically, I'm actually going to do that a little bit bigger. It's easier to resize in Photoshop. So here we have a winner, I think. Just going to save this as overlay in the track folder. So you see, there's like a lot of things you have to do before actually starting making a replica track. It's not just jumping right into it merely from the memory. That's the most terrible thing you can ever do. So overlay should go into, I don't have that map, so map folder, vehicle. So I'm sorry if you don't really follow. This is not as much of a tutorial as just you see how I do things. Billboard, probably not going to have any billboards. So let's edit this image. Nice. Get some dinner for me too, Ray. So let's get a width here going. So we know that from this point up here to this point here is 1,600 foot roughly. So let's see, let's make nope. Let's set this one to a fixed ratio of 1:1. Redefine edge is not. So this means that we will, no matter what, get a. Oh god. So with a fixed radio here, we will get a perfectly squared. I actually need to start up higher. I mean, it's not you have to do this down to the pixel right, not with this one either. I just wanted some rough calculations. So let's clear. Take a new thing here without all the stuff in the way. I'm not sure. I'm just trying a new thing here. So as you can see, it's about the same size, except in the second image here, I don't have all the stuff from the measuring, so it's a little bit cleaner. So I'm deleting the old one. This is still 600 foot times 1600 foot, the selection here. So let's put the track pretty centered. Let's copy that one onto a new image. So that apparently didn't work. Select the wrong layer, paste the new one. Now we're going to go to image size 1024, because that's easier for the game to load. So let's save this one here. Actually, let's press Shift Control Alt plus S to get the optimized saving thing. Let's save it to desktop. So let's say one with 100% opacity, no see-through, and let's save one with, I think 95 is what I usually do. So save a new one as overlay 95. And now it is time to do some calculations here. This part may confuse you a lot. I'm going to try and do this as good as I can. Let's delete those two. Overlay into there. Okay, so let's get confused, shall we? So starting with opening Notepad and Calc. So let's see, we have a 2049 map to work with. We can change the scaling, I'll get into that. We have the image was 1600 foot roughly. So, and we're going to use this as a 1.25 scale. So the scale wanted scale is going to be 1.25, so 25% bigger than the real life. That's making for pretty realistic track in my opinion. So scale here. So we're going to take the 1600 feet times 1.25. That is going to get equal to, having a calculated just to be sure, that is about 2000. So we will get, the image will represent 2000 here. And since that's so close to 2049, I'm actually not even going to care about the track being 2049 instead of 2000. So we know that the image here should cover the whole track to make it sort of suitable. So let's open the track folder. Stenungsund 2014. Decals. Let's make it a little bit smaller. So we're going to have in the middle of 1024.5. Duplicate that. Zero rotation. The size of this should be 2049, and sort of ratio, aspect ratio should be 1. Was it underscore 95? So that should be about correct. So this will set the center of the image will be in the center of the map, since it's 2049. We want this to be 2049 pixels big, so it's pretty much covering the whole thing. Rotation should be 0, 1 in aspect ratio, and a reference to where the image is. So let's see here if we can get this one up and going. Even more interesting than if we actually got it correct. Well, looks pretty good to me. Of course, I did not open the editor. What? I have a few different shortcuts depending on if I want the editor or not. So this looks pretty good. Looks like, let's see here, the starting gates over here should be there in real life. So let's go to the right here. I don't think the sound of the bike should be too loud. So as you can see, it's terrible quality. I think a lot of the good guys at making overlays and stuff does something. I can't promise you, but I think that they zoom in and then crop together the images. I'm not going to use overlay at the end, so I'm just going to use decals, meaning that it's somewhat overrated to do this. So look at the track map. Track comes about here. But first thing we are going to do is pull up a GoPro from the track. I don't know what this thing is up here. Interesting. Really? So let's pull up my GoPro footage from somewhere. GoPro Stenungsund. There it is. So let's see. Here's the track. So this was for a competition. As you can see, I am really slow in real life. And what I'm looking for now is, in my memory, the track is pretty much flat except for one part up in one corner. Okay, so it's just start practice at the moment. No? What? Okay, so another track is more or less flat about here. As you can see, some minor variations in height, but it's good enough to make a flat ground as a base. And this is my first lap around the track in a few years, so expect me to be slow. Now when making a track like this, a replica especially, you have to decide whether it should be one-to-one scale or fun to ride, because a track that is one-to-one scale will be so small in a mech simulator, it will be just stupid. So it's better to aim for a track that is fun, in my opinion, and a little bit overscaled. Nothing ridiculous, but 1 to 25, 1 to 125 in scale or something. As you can see, this is the only part really where you are going up a hill or something. As you can see, it's not much, but it's the only thing. If it would be a hill track, if you sort of understand what I mean, I would definitely try it out the Google SketchUp method. I haven't tried it yet, but I would definitely check out that method for a hillish track. I am riding a Suzuki RMZ 250 2007 of year. Welcome back, Ray. So, quite an old bike these days, but a nice bike, I like it. Especially when I got the suspension dialed in. And there you can see the folk race track we just crossed. Now this is probably the biggest jump on the track because it's a step down, and as you can see, it doesn't seem as big on video as it is in real life, in my opinion. But it's quite big, especially for a beginner like me. I've been riding motocross for about 14 years, but I still suck at riding, so that's me. And here's the two tabletops coming off of the start straight. So, as you can see, my memory was pretty good, I would say. So the only part that's really mountain-ish is the part up here. I'm actually going to lower the opacity of the overlay I'm using because I think I would like to see through just a tiny bit more. So let's save this one as opacity. So 90% of 95, that's a weird number, but I guess it's okay. So as you see, I have lowered the opacity just a little bit so I can see through to the ground. And the track is relatively hard packed as well, so I am going to go for a sort of hard packed traction, pretty standard. And what I want to see here is if I go and I want to paint with the traction tile map. I wish that I could see through. It seems like something is not getting picked up. Let's bring up the chat here. Screw this, I'm just going to go to screw that one. As you can see, there's a lot of things that you have to just set up a track. I've spent 26 minutes, I'm not really that close to being finished with setup. So 75%, that should be good enough. Save as... have a PSD. Oh, that makes sense why it didn't show. I am so stupid at times. So 80 done should be good, I guess. Save as PNG, thank you. Yeah, for sure. Those raised edges is usually something I add sort of when the jumps and stuff are done. It's easier, in my opinion, to do it that way. Not need that one. So I'm just going to change the decals because I changed the name of the decal I'm using. So, whoops, I don't need to decal 80. That would make sense to me. Yeah, it does. So, this should be good, I hope. Trying to send gate 3 this way. So you can see through a little bit. You can see the tile map through here. That's sort of good to know what's on and off track, at least if you ask me. So let's go to just make the entire thing green to start with as off track. Then let's paint the tile map. So let's start with the start straight. And man, this must have been a sunny day once this was. I think the tracks changed since I looked at it. This seems to be relatively the same. I just think the start section here is changed. Because usually the track goes like and then immediately out to the right. So I am going to have to build up on what I have. So the start is going to be a little bit different. So let's pull up here. Let's see a start. Because if you look at this part in the moment, you can see that it's a big and then right quite far before it goes left and out. Is it 2 tracks? if you're referring to this one, the part right here that goes sort of over the motocross track, that is actually a rallycross track. So it's a car track. Interesting thing there they have going on. Getting the bikes slower seems to be a problem. Can skip through this, I guess. So let's see here. We have going straight. Then it is actually going back a little bit. So it wasn't as much incorrect as I thought it would be. Wow, look at that. So start straight seems to be correct. Painting with grass. My bad. And as you can see, I'm painting just a little bit outside because you shouldn't get off-track traction just by going an inch off the track. But this is something you have to adjust when you do decals, because decals is the ones that make the look what you're riding on. If I make any sense at all. So as you see, it's a little bit too wide for the track, but it's good enough, pretty much. So this section is really weird. I think this is actually what the track is. The layout is weird at some places. A big ass step up. Berm. Step down. That's roughly the track, so let's not forget to save. That's incredibly important. It's just not that high if you look at it. I want the part, if you see my cursor right about here, being a little bit higher, but it seems like it's fairly low. So it's not going to be too much. I had to raise the ground. I'm a little bit torn about how much this should be raised. I would say 3 to 4 meters. Yeah, I mean, I would definitely side, or whatever that was called, sidecar motocross side thing. They may even raised that here. I'm not quite sure. So the first thing you really want to have to do once you have finished painting the tile map or something is to make the elevation right, because you can't make a jump then adjust the elevation in a good fashion. So you have to do elevation. So let's place a gradient. And if you absolutely have no idea what I'm talking about, I really suggest you go and look at my track editing tutorials first. And I'm mainly saying this to YouTube people. If you look here at what Ray has to say in the chat, somebody is going to jump all those jumps for sure with a side thing attached to the motorcycle. No way. At least not for me. What it's talking about is oh, can you link me an image? I just want to show the other people what you're talking about, because I can't explain it in a good way. I can't find the right word for it either. So starting off, we're going to make a flat point. And I would say about this point, I would say at about this point the maximum altitude is reached. So then it's just a question of how high should it be, because this thick line indicates 10 feet, that's about 3 meters. So I'm going to guess about this point. It should be a little bit bigger than in real life too, as I explained earlier. Make sure to set that point to line. Let's see if we can add linear add up here. Yeah, I think it should be behind me. I mean, that doesn't look too bad. That looks like it could make sense. These are the doubles, I think. And you're coming up here. Here's the takeoff for that jump. Makes sense. So let's go and make a new gradient here. We should make a flat one. New gradient. I'm just going to put it somewhere remote. Set from terrain. It's still going to be flat. Linear paint. I'm going to paint this part flat right here, because as you could see in the GoPro, it's sort of flat up until the kick of the jump. I will reshape this once we get a little bit further in. I just want to get the sort of proportions right first. Let's see here. So as you can see, this is the part I'm currently making. As you can see, right here on the left side, we have grass and stuff being a little bit higher ground than the takeoff here, and the takeoff just kicks you way up high. So it seems about right. So let's see, I think I got an image. Nope. Got Skype. This is just so you can go up here without dying. Then landing about somewhere here. That's working, I think. Go back around to the downhill. Still going down the hill, coming up to a little berm here. Just going to see what I got sun in chat. As you can see, it's not a berm exactly, but it's a little bit angle till you go back up here. So let's make that happen. I think I can close that window. So let's see where I am at the moment, coming down to this point. It's so bright everything, and it's so faint, so it's hard to, in a good way, find it. I'm just going to shake my sound again, real soon. So let's place another gradient. Faint, so it's hard to, in a good voice sounds good, I guess. Or the voice itself doesn't sound very pretty, but volume is okay. So I'm going to make the gradient a little bit too big here. As you can see, it is a nice curve, the same curvature as what's inside, but it's a little bit too big. So I'm always starting with, as this should be the highest point of the berm, roughly. I actually think I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, still flatten out, make it a little bit bigger. As you can see, it wasn't much of an angle, so I'm just going to go with pretty low. So something like this. Just a nice little thing at it. Usually when you do a berm, you want to do something like that. Let me see, that looks okay, but not right. Delete that one. So this is what Ray was talking about earlier with side car cross, apparently. The fun thing is these are two strokes mainly, because I don't want to play that to get some copyright claim. So as you can see, he has a dude attached to his right side. Insane. But I mean, it's fun too. Badass to see. 752 strokes over 100 plus horsepower. Insane. Death machines for sure. So I am going to do this. As I want the berm to sort of end in this direction, I am going to set that one to, as you can see, when it comes to this angle, it's just going to go straight. So I could add, and then it's sort of going to straighten out here instead of going too far to the inside. I mean, this seems like a reasonable berm compared to the real life thing. I would still say it's a little bit big, and I'm going to smooth it out because that was one of the main things. It's really smooth. So first to the outside line here. Then I'm going to turn down smooth to smooth out the top here. Because if we back up, we can see it's just my imagination, I guess, going otherwise. But I don't to me it's not that sharp, so I think this seems like a reasonable berm. So just go square up back here. So let's save. Really crucial. I've worked on the track for hours and forgot to save, and it is more annoying than you ever wish it would be. So let's go here and see if I need to make some big changes other than this, or if I can start building jumps and stuff. I am going to add things like this, banks to the side, but that's going to be a little bit later. I think it's good enough to where I can start build jumps and stuff. Approximately good enough. I've been live for 46 minutes and I've just touched on making the track itself. That's where you want to be. So let's pull up this gradient once again. So let's go to paint mode and paint the heck out of this. Oh, that was not good. So as you can see, I was almost painting over what I already fixed over there. So here's the downhill jump, going down the hill. Actually add a little bit here, see so I don't screw it up. Update the shaders. Is it done yet? Yeah. 40 more hours and it will be done or something. So elevation is good enough to where I can start with other things, I would say. So to not having to start outside of the track each time, I'm going to fix the starting gates first. So let's open a notepad document. I can use the currently existing one. Taking notes of where the start gate should start and end. So start at 10:44.699. 10:44. 699, coming to Y in a second, and then end about 10:08.551. Actually, it's starting at this point and ending at that point. This will make the gate backwards, but that's nothing to worry about. So let's get ourselves a nice window here. mxsimulator.com/gate.html. Let's put this in and we can see that we got this many gates. jumping, timing gates, full size starting gate. We got 40 gates. That's pretty good. Or we got 39 gates, I think. This should be 39 rows selected. Yeah, 39 rows selected, so we need one more gate to make it a 40-man gate. It's always nice to have 40 men on the gate. 40 men, gate riders, anything you want. Oh shit. So let's try 701 and see if we get one more gate perhaps. Oh, still stuck with the same amount of gates. I'm actually going to change this up anyway. That should give me one more gate. So as we can see, we have, when you go down to this area, we can see selected 40 gates. So I'm going to save this and quit the game. I've already saved. If you would save once again, the timing gate will probably revert to the old one. So make sure you save, exit, done, fix the timing gates. Didn't start. So let's see on the starting gate here. It looks pretty good, starting from left here and right. Could actually be a little bit more to the right, but I think it's pretty good this way. I'm actually going to move it more to the right, believe it or not. Screw that. I'm not going to deal with that at the moment. It's not important enough. So let's see what we can start with. I like to do jumps first because I like jumps. They are fun. So close that one. GoPro. So let's start with this jump, I would say. Go in game. And usually you can see from the image we pulled, like I can tell that this part here is going to be a jump approximately. And we can see that the length of the gradient currently is 127 foot, which would probably mean the actual distance you jump is a little bit less than that. So let's see here. I'm going to make this jump a bit bigger because jumps in sim are really fun and it won't be too unrealistic. So let's start off with a flat round gradient, and then you want to end with one of those. And let's estimate how tall this jump is. Is this about I would say it's around 10 foot. And 10 foot point 20 and times 25 added percent will result in almost 13 foot, I guess. So something like this in size, I think. So let's see, the landing on the image looks to be around this part perhaps. See here, set that one to flat. We can say that it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it's 90 feet this jump. It's not that big. Just going to paint it up first so we can see if it's any good. Update the shaders 2 times because that's needed for some reason. So what do you think of this? I mean, it's a jump. It's probably somewhat realistic. Is it fun? Not too, because it's too short. In my opinion, you need pretty long jumps to make them fun, so I'm actually going to extend both press F to flatten this, and I'm actually going to make it so the takeoff is earlier, because in Sim you can have so much speed through the corners and stuff, so having it earlier probably won't be too bad of a thing. And one thing too, yes, you can sort of have as a reference, to me that jump is pretty big in real life. So if it's sort of big here in the game, I wouldn't say it's too unfair, as I perceive it as big in real life. Let's try and paint up another one. It looks really, really long now. So that's way too big. So I guess the first jump was pretty good. Forgot to update the shaders twice. So you actually stream with camera on that? Huh, nice. I mean, that seems like a reasonable, realistic jump. It's not out of proportions, really. So, when it comes to jumps, I usually want to have the inside circle as big or as wide as the track, and then have around 50-ish. And then you press L to make a line, and then you just drag it along the track. Since it's ending on a flat note, I don't have to worry about getting high things up here. So let's see if this looks something. I mean, that seems fairly comparable to the real life jump. I don't think I do the whole thing because I'm so bad at jumping. And especially the face coming up there, it usually is so bumpy. Can watch later on, but I don't think I'm going to jump it. Nope. So it's acceptable, and then you have a speed jump here. So let's go ahead and make, whoops, screenshot, save this. There's no drama on the forums. Oh, there's always drama. Just sometimes it's sleeping. That seems like a little bit too much for a speed jump. So as we can see, about here is the highest point of a speed jump. With a speed jump, it's so low, so it has shorter edges on the sides, so you can go with a higher focus. Something like that. That's actually way off in placement. Isn't the speed jump before? Yeah, it is. So land, and then speed jump before you enter the track. So speed jump should come relatively soon then, I guess. The only thing I'm thinking about with this landing is that people are going to jump from the tabletop and land in the speed jump, which is not the intention. Seems okay, doesn't it? Wheeling off the jump here. Getting some swag going. Going here and then just... I think you get a little bit of more air in real life. But that's not too needed. I guess I could make rotten bumps up in the face of that one instead. Next up is going to be the finish line jump, which is a really weird one because it's short and it turns immediately after. I mean, in real life, people won't go exactly WFO, but it will be relatively close to just wide open. And if you add ruts, that's just going to make it each person's decision whether they want to risk or not, in my opinion. So let's start making on the second jump here. It's good because now I actually have streaming this. I actually have a reason to build and finish the track. That was pretty much what I needed to get started with this one. So let's see again here. I would say that before the landing, that's about it. If we look at the landing here, it's relatively steep. I mean, it's not that big of a landing, but it is steep. So let's, for just the test purpose, paint one up here. So that is way too high, I think. I don't know. It seems pretty reasonable. Doesn't seem that way off. I mean, obviously in real life it's way smaller. But I mean, you have a person up there in the tank, and the person's probably, say the tank plus the person is probably 5 to 6 feet. I mean, it seems plausible. Ray, need your help. And if I can remember correctly, when I raced this back in 2007, perhaps, it was bigger. I would say more like this. I'm actually going to keep it because I do like how it seems. I mean, it is big. Coming on, whoop. I don't have to go immediately to the inside. It seems fairly okay. And then immediately to the inside. I guess that will do. Ruts, later point. Just a little thing to get over. Live for 1 hour and 10 minutes. So here we need something. If we look at the shape of this thing, it doesn't have much angle. It is very short too. So let's not give it too much angle then. If we back up, I would say the takeoff is about here. Going to make it a little bit shorter. Landing perhaps somewhere in the neighborhood of where that line is. I think this seems fairly representable. Starting before, ending after. Perhaps a little bit too wide. That's imperfect. Just have to do one little thing here before I can feel satisfied. It is to make it a little bit more like that. Because if you look at, it's sort of a blowout here where people get on the gas and just pull away. So I am going to delete this one and make a new one. So looking in game, this will look terrible, the landing. But if you looked, it was a little bit smoother on this side, while it had sort of a hole or there. Too low, maybe not. I think this jump is pretty on point actually. A little bit too much. That looks better to me at least. So you're going to come around the corner, rapidly brap, something like that. Then just to make the hole, as you can see on the left hand side, you can see that there's a little bit of a hole at this point. So with a lower, not perfect, but I don't know, representable, I would say. So let's make the next tabletop and see if we can get it together. Nice little tabletop, nothing special, just small. As you can see, it's not big. It's very small actually. So building the realistic version would be as you can see, the lighting changes here, so the takeoff is actually most likely ending about there. So you can see it's not going to be big in any way. That is too wide. Get over a little single, and then just, as you can see, I mean, it's so low and so short, it's so hard to not overjump it. And this is especially when the fun versus real life come in, because this jump is so short, you want to make it a big one, but at the same time you don't want to make it a big one because it will be so far off from the real life, as you can tell. I'm actually going to make this single before, because it seems to make more sense to make a single before you can actually make the jump. So I'm going to keep the gradient, but delete the jump. Let's see, you have the road that crosses over about here, and it's immediately after that point. Actually, let's just put it up there while we have the gradient, just for a reference. So I put this the wrong way. How clever. So now the short jump makes more sense. Still not really making sense, but it makes more sense while you have a speed jump in front of it. The only thing I don't want the speed jump here for is because if you would run a competition or something, there's a big chance that people would just double up on top of the second tabletop. Going to see if I can make that happen. Not quite, but still. I'm so torn with this speed jump because I want it to be a bit higher, but I think if I make it a bit higher, people will for sure be able to over jump or jump on top up onto the. People will be able to jump up onto the tabletop. But I don't know. What you could do too is make it so people will miss a timing gate if they do so. Since, or that might not work either. Oh, it's so. Why? As you can see, there's a lot of struggles when making a track. Decisions you have to make, fun versus real life. And you have to build things to prevent sick lines and stuff. I would say this can stay speed jump. So speed jump stays. Jump will stay. I'll just increase the length of it a little bit, I think. So this one is good enough. It's just what to do with this one. Actually, I think I'll have this one the same way as well. I mean, that would make sense for a jump. It's not perfect, but it makes sense. So, in 1.5 hours we have set up the track in the track folder. We have created some sort of elevation. That's good enough. We have a little bit of that elevation to make room for a jump that will come in the future. We have placed and made 4 jumps, 2 speed jumps and 1 berm. So I'm actually quite satisfied how much we have been able to do in this time. So this is going to end this stream. It is my first time streaming track making, so if you want to have, I'd appreciate feedback, more people in chat, know people, Skype, TeamSpeak, something, you know. So I hope you could learn something or just watch and have fun or anything pretty much. So this is going to go up on YouTube. Thanks anyone who watched, and especially if you watched the whole thing. Oh, Heckman's just coming in. What's up, Heckman? Just as about just as I'm going to sign off here. Yeah, you came a little bit late, but that's all good. So, going to close this one and see ya. Thanks for watching.